Hello ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Giles here, and for the week 2 lesson I decided to focus on creating a comp track, and the DAW I'm going to be using for this is Reaper. So what I've done here is I've created a drum loop and a rhythm guitar track, and then I know this also says rhythm guitar, but it's actually my lead guitar track. I just forgot to label it before starting to record. But what I did was I selected the bars that I wanted to record, I toggled on the loop, the repeat button, and when I recorded, I would just play through the solo, and then Reaper would automatically go back and I would record again and again and again and again. And now that I've stopped, it is giving me a view of all my different takes, and I can, just by clicking on those, highlight the different takes, and that will audition, if you will, the different passes through. Let's just give a listen to a couple of them. So there's one. There's another one. And so on and so forth. So there's certain things I like about certain takes and certain things I don't like. So what I'm going to do is compile all of this into one monster solo. So the first thing I need to do is decide what I want to keep and what I don't. So I think I can do that off camera. When I'm keeping all these takes on one track, it's hard to really get a good view of the audio. There's just so much on one track. But what I can do is I can right click, go to take, and explode all takes to new tracks. And what it's done now is it's given me my original with everything, as well as each individual take on its own track. So I can now zoom in on these a little easier, and I'm going to choose to work that way. So here I've expanded the view. I've dragged my main sort of track with all my takes down at the bottom and muted it, and I've removed a bunch of the takes on the separate tracks that I didn't really dig, and on the tracks, on the little takes that I did like, I've gone ahead and trimmed them. I'm just going to zoom in and show you something. By default, anytime you split an item or trim an item or record an item, Reaper will put in a little fade in and a fade out, and I find it really quite useful. I'm sure there's moments where you're not going to want that, but it's nice to have so that you don't have to put it in all on its own. So I'm just going to drag these tracks one by one together and zoom in. You can see the fade in and the fade outs. Now I can actually grab this and move it over, and once the two audio files cross over each other, boom, Reaper puts a crossfade in automatically. That's because I've got the auto crossfade button enabled. So that's another time-saving feature, and you can drag this guy around as well and set it to the exact spot that you want. So I'll put it there, say. So now I've dragged the all the little bits and pieces onto one track. I've removed the tracks that then became empty, and I've adjusted the crossfades, and I'll just zoom in and show you. So there we go, there's some of the crossfades. And played with the volume just a little bit to make sure that the volume kind of matches up between them. And I apologize for the sound quality. I'm just using my internal mic and my little laptop built-in speaker, but this is what it sounds like. So I felt pretty good about that, and it's late and I need to go to bed, so I'm going to say I'm happy with that. I'm going to select all 4 of these files, right click, and I'm going to select glue items, and that's going to put them all together into one file. So there's making a comp track. Thanks, folks.